Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the largest liquidation event in the history of Bitcoin and where we go from here. Is it still possible for us to have a bullish Q4? Has a bear market just started? Is Bitcoin still what we believe it to be? These are all very important questions that we need to answer following the events of Friday. A quick recap, if you don't know what happened, President Donald Trump announced at about 9:30 a.m. on Friday that he was going to be having some serious ramifications placed on the People's Republic of China as a result of a threat that they had made to withhold rare earth minerals and elements from the rest of the world in an attempt to basically put a death grip on global trade. At 5:01 p.m. Eastern on Friday, Donald Trump announced 100% tariffs on China 1 minute after the United States stock market closed, and Bitcoin would put in the first $20,000 tall candlestick in history. From wick to wick, we saw Bitcoin drop from 122 on some exchanges down to $102,000, liquidating over 1.6 million traders in what may be the biggest market bloodbath that anyone has seen anywhere since '08. This has been one of the most cataclysmic crashes that Bitcoin has ever witnessed, and it reminds me a lot of what we saw on March the 11th of 2020 when we saw COVID-19 taking over the world, and we literally saw a global pandemic breakout when Bitcoin dropped 50% in a day. However, I'm very encouraged by the resiliency that Bitcoin has shown over the course of this weekend and by the new uptrend that it is attempting to put in. So today we're going to break down exactly what happened. We're going to break down exactly where we are, and we're going to break down exactly where I think we are going. So if you're here for it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And before we get started, a lot of you guys got absolutely wrecked. And I want you to know that we are praying for you. We are thinking about you. And the entire mission of this channel is keeping things like this in mind. The reason that I have always been so staunch about risk management, about safety, about cold storage, about long-term investing, about keeping your investments in spot. The reason that I've been adamant about not putting your entire net worth on the trading platform is because things like this can happen. This is why we talk about decentralized exchanges, DeFi. This is why we talk about cold storage. That's why we have a cold storage company as one of our sponsors, Stamp Seed. You can stamp your seed phrases in cold storage on titanium. It's funny because they're actually kind of cold, right? They're titanium. That's why we talk about these things. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm not saying that to rub salt in the wounds. What I am saying is that if you are hurting and you don't know who to trust, we have been on this channel for the last 8 years teaching you how to do crypto safely. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. That is our mission, to help you succeed in a way that you don't get screwed and have to start over every 3 to 5 years because something like this happened. I'm so sorry for you if something like if you got liquidated, lost a bunch of money. My heart breaks for you. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing that we need to go over is I want to do a quick recap since this happened moving into the weekend of what exactly occurred. I watched this happen live because I saw Bitcoin dropping down to like, what was it, 114 or so, and I started saying to myself, you know what, I want to buy. So I did buy the dip. I bought the dip quite aggressively, actually. I saw Bitcoin dropping down here, down towards 115, 116, and I just figured people were freaked out because of what Trump had said, and we'd have a bounce, and boy, howdy, was I right. We had a massive crash right here around 5:30 or so. We saw Bitcoin just go through this absolutely enormous liquidation event where we would see $19 billion of liquidations occur and hundreds of millions of dollars change hands. We saw Bitcoin crash by $10,000 in 40 minutes, and that was nothing compared to a lot of altcoins that dropped significantly farther. SWI, for example, at some point, I think dropped just basically almost to zero, right? On some exchanges, it did drop to zero. A bunch of different altcoins went through a massive crash. And the reason that this happened was because the market was over leveraged. Friends, I want to be very clear. I do not have an issue with leverage trading. I do have an issue with being irresponsible with it. And we have a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space that have been highly over leveraged. They're doing 200x leverage, and they're not doing 200x leverage on 1% of their account, which is fine. Go for it. They're doing 200% leverage on their entire account. They're doing 70% leverage on their entire account. So one of the first lessons I want to give you in this stream as we break down what happens is I want to explain to you what I call the 80-20 rule. You may have heard of this. It's called the Pareto principle, right? You make 80% of your gains with 20% of the results. If you look at the tallest if you look at trees, for example, you see the 80-20 principle showing up there. You look into astrophysics, you see the 80-20 principle showing up there. I want to encourage you to keep 20% of your account on the exchange for trading and at least 80% of your net worth off of the exchange, because many people literally lost their entire net worth because everything they owned was on Hyperliquid. You need to have some Bitcoin in cold storage. Me being a Bitcoin maximal-ish kind of guy is sounding really attractive right now. And I'm not trying to rub salt in the wounds, but I'm right, and you need to listen. You need Bitcoin in cold storage, locked away, not on any kind of leverage, and left there so that if your account does get blown, because it will happen eventually if you leverage trade for long enough, your account will get blown. You don't lose everything. Okay, so what we ended up seeing happen is a lot of people had their entire account, or they had tens of millions of dollars on leverage trading platforms, and they lost everything. They were over leveraged. And frankly, the amount of over leveraging that was going on in the cryptocurrency space was not good for Bitcoin. It was not good for the price of Bitcoin, and it was going to make it very difficult for Bitcoin to rally. That has now been alleviated by this massive crash. This scam wick here knocked out a bunch of those leverage longs. Now, I want to back up again. I want to throw my 2 cents in here one more time. What happened on Friday was a coordinated market manipulative event that made someone very rich and made some other people go bankrupt. And unfortunately, lives have been lost for this. This was obviously a manipulated, coordinated attack. You saw Binance go down. You saw Coinbase go down. You saw CoinGlass get hacked coincidentally at that time. You saw a bunch of different market makers go down. You saw the incoming price data going into DEXs not showing up and working correctly. The entire market came under some kind of attack, and nobody knows where it came from. No one knows who did it, but this was not just a liquidation event. This was a lot more than just a liquidation event. This was a coordinated attack on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, and I need you to understand that. This is a big part of the reason why we recommend having Bitcoin in cold storage, because no matter what happens on the centralized exchanges, no matter what happens anywhere, your cold storage Bitcoin is totally safe. Coinbase got screwed. Binance got screwed. A bunch of other exchanges had trouble. A lot of them didn't, but the big ones especially did. Bitcoin ran completely seamlessly without a hiccup whatsoever. Bitcoin had nothing happen to it negative. The price changed. That's all that happened to spot holders. I encourage you, hold spot Bitcoin. Please, please hold spot Bitcoin. All right, get off my soapbox here. Now, what happened from there? Bitcoin during Friday established this downtrending level of resistance here, and sometime around Saturday, we actually managed to trade sideways through it, back tested as support, which is funny because, you know, we've been calling all of last week for a corrective movement. In fact, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, we called for a correction, $5,000 to $6,000 off of all-time high, back down to $120,000. On Thursday, we had talked about a long trade that you could look at entering somewhere around right here. And then on Friday, after his tweet, we said, nope, do not enter this long trade. So literally all of last week, we were saying avoid longs, do not go into longs. On Thursday, when we finally said that the market looks stable enough to go into a long, the next day before the long triggered, we said, don't go into the long because Bitcoin had a fundamental update out of Trump's mouth, right? So we've been saying to stay out of longs, and what we ended up seeing happen here on Friday and Saturday is that Bitcoin traded sideways through this safety line, found support, and bounced down here at approximately 110,000. And I want to point out just how resilient Bitcoin is, that it is bouncing right now on two key levels. Number one, it's bouncing on this uptrending level of support right here. Literally, look at that. On Bitstamp, there's no scam wick down to 102, so it's a lot easier to see. Look at this uptrend. Beautiful bounce. Absolutely gorgeous bounce. Perfect bounce. Beautiful bounce. I think a lot of what was going to be achieved in a bear market just happened in about 2 hours on Friday. I think what happened on Friday achieved probably 25 to 50% of what a bear market would need to achieve in about 25 to 50 minutes. And that is very encouraging because I do think that tees us up for a very bullish Q4. But anyway, we established this uptrending level of support right here, which is just absolutely gorgeous, and it really does lead me to believe that we're going to possibly be able to rally from here. If we draw a new fib, for example, you can see we're right now below the 0.382 at 115,800. If we can break above that, then that'll be fantastic, right? We found our support up here at the 0.618. So we're kind of finding a new Fibonacci that we can draw here. So we'll be looking at that. But from here, we've seen Bitcoin start to rally, and part of that has to do with the fact that we did see some cooling from Trump. If we go ahead and look at his Truth Social post, he said 21 hours ago, which was, let's see, that was about 1 p.m. on Sunday. He said, don't worry about China. Don't worry about China. Don't worry about China. Don't worry about China. It'll all be fine. Highly respected President Xi Jinping just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it, President Donald Trump. Was Donald Trump in on this? Are all the memes of Barron Trump just looking over Trump's shoulder saying, hey, Pops, just press this button, launch this tweet, we're going to make $300 million? Is that what happened? I don't know. I voted for the guy. I sure as hell hope not. You really got to wonder, though, because the announcement happened right after stock market hours closed. Somebody that knew what was going on opened up a big old short. I don't know whether it's the Trump family, but it is a question that I think it would be helpful to have an answer to. Just going to put that tinfoil hat conspiracy theory out there. Love to hear your opinions on that in the comment section down below, because he just so happens to make it seem like everything's fine right before stock market opens, so the crypto gets screwed, and so that the stock market doesn't get hurt that bad, right? S&P 500 had a big bounce. You know, likely within a week it'll recover. Tariffs have kind of been pulled off the table now. Weekend crash. By the way, one thing I don't like about this weekend crash is the fact that we've established... Actually, I take that back. Look at that. The way that it worked out, we didn't actually build a CME futures gap. Never mind. That's good. So anyway, the point is here, Bitcoin is now in recovery. I know I'm a little bit all over the place today. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly how to analyze this because this is very much unprecedented. But anyway, ever since Trump and I think it was actually J.D. Vance announced that, you know, tensions are cooling, we've seen Bitcoin rallying. We saw that announcement again at approximately 11 o'clock yesterday. So that was right around the time of Trump's second tweet. That second Truth Social post we read was right here. The first Truth Social post on Friday was right up here. And then the actual announcement was right there. So you can see how Trump's messaging has been the thing manipulating this market. But the good news is, just like I told our sales and community manager Malachi over the weekend, I said, and I posted this on Twitter, you can see it. I said, and I quote, let's see, I told him on Saturday, let me see if I can find this. I said basically that shorting Bitcoin is still, yes. In a few days, Trump will order the deal, some deal at 40%. He's a New York street fighter, back the enemy into a corner and threaten to kill them, then begin negotiations. It won't end up being 100% and markets will bounce. The news being gone, and so is the leverage. So long as too many people don't abandon the market, then we'll have a strong Q4 after that announcement. Trump negotiates through a smile behind a gun, but pulling the trigger isn't good for business. I posted that on my on Twitter. You can go read that text thread. But that was our prediction on Saturday that we were talking about behind the scenes right around here, is that Trump is going to back down because that's how he does business. He needed leverage over Xi, so he just decided to threaten him on the world stage to, you know, kind of put him in his place, if you will. And Trump decided to back off on that, as we knew he would, because he was just, you know, positioning. All of this to say that Bitcoin is going to end up bouncing now because the fundamental thing that caused this crash is gone, and the leverage longs are gone too. So here's the thing I want to factor in. One of the really key points here: $19 billion didn't just evaporate. It didn't get set on fire. It went somewhere, right? Well, first of all, we got to mention a few things. That's not $19 billion of the spot account value. That's $19 billion of the long account value. So if you go into 100x long on $100, you have $100,000. That's $100,000 of liquidations, even though you only have, $1,000 times 100x long would be $100,000. You only lost $1,000, but on the liquidation data, it reads like 100,000. So people didn't actually lose $19 billion. That's the actual value of the trade. That's not the value of the margin. The margin that was lost was probably somewhere between $500 million and $2 billion, somewhere in that range. And also that $500 million to $2 billion that was actually lost was not lost. It went to someone. Who did it go to? It went to long-term spot holders of Bitcoin that had limit orders placed down at 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, building the order book. I cannot stress this enough. If you lost money on Friday, my heart breaks for you. But your money went to somebody who's going to hold it in spot, not in leverage. And that is a stronger foundation for the market. We just saw at least $1 billion of buy orders placed above $100,000 that are instantly in 10% profit. That is extremely, extremely bullish fundamentals. It sucks for the leverage traders who were over leveraged. It really sucks for the exchanges where you had stop losses that didn't trigger, because your stop loss is supposed to be an order in the order book, right? That should have triggered. There's a lot of manipulation, a lot of heads that need to roll, a lot of accountability that needs to be had. But the bottom line is, spot holders, long-term investors of Bitcoin just got some incredible entries that they're not going to let go of anytime soon. They're not going to want to sell those at 125 because they got in at 104, 107, 109. They don't want to sell at 125. Why do they have the order there? Because they want to double their money. They're going to hold it till 200. So what happened on Friday, although absolutely tragic, honestly is extremely bullish for the fundamentals of Bitcoin. So I want to make my position very clear here. This was not the beginning of the bear market. I don't believe that whatsoever. Now, you need to be prepared for a bear market because it could have been. About 2 million traders got screwed. And that's not great for business either. Could be the beginning of the bear market. We'll have to see how things play out over the next month. I'm not going to be totally confident on that. All of our predictions are completely out the window. The market is in a completely new era. We need to start from scratch. But I'm going to lean in the direction that this was the disbelief phase right before the Q4 blow off top, and this is going to help Bitcoin go into a major rally. Again, because the money didn't disappear. It went to long-term holders that believe in Bitcoin so much that they went to the trouble of putting limit orders down there at 107, 109, 111, and they're not going to want to let go of those anytime soon. So let's tie all this into a nice, neat bow. First thing, massive crash that liquidated a lot of people. A lot of people got hurt. If you are hurting right now, reach out to us, reach out to friends, reach out to families, walk in the back door of the nearby church, reach out to someone. I have seen terrible, tragic stories of people ending their lives. I have seen terrible stories of people losing their homes. I've seen awful stories, and it breaks my ever-loving heart, and it reminds me why I'm in this game in the first place, is to teach you guys how to do this stuff safely. I was, someone bought a coaching call with me about a year and a half ago. He was trying to get me to work with him on a course that he's building. He's a really cool guy. I might end up doing it. But he was talking about, it was basically a passive income kind of thing based off stable coins or yield farming. And I asked him, what is the most important, something just fell. What is the most important part of building wealth? Is it reward maximization or risk mitigation? And he gave me the right answer. He said risk mitigation all the way. And the reason for that is because if you lose everything, it doesn't matter how much money you made. If you get liquidated, I don't care if you had $1 billion. It's gone. So we have to risk mitigate. And then from that standpoint, build with reward maximization. And that's what we're here to do. So if you have not already, you need to subscribe to this channel because I am not a moon boy. I'm not a hype guy. I'm the guy who is going to help you build wealth and keep it. There's a lot of people on YouTube that'll help you make $1 million. They also might not help you keep the $1 million. It is our job to help you trade and invest safely, and I'm here for that, and I want to help you succeed in that. So that's the first thing. Subscribe to the channel. We're going to help keep you guys safe in your trading and your investing journeys. Second thing, a lot of conversation about whether or not this is going to lead Bitcoin into a blow-off top or whether it's going to lead it into a bear market. Once again, I personally believe that this just reset the entire, all the leverage, reset all the liquidations, gave a bunch of long-term bulls incredible entries, and I think that over the next week, you're going to see turbulence. Maybe 2 weeks, you're going to see turbulence. Bitcoin might have a drop. We might go down to 100 for a little while. I don't know if that's going to happen, just maybe. And from that point in time, Bitcoin is going to end up bouncing because we have some incredible market structure right here, guys. And if Bitcoin does drop below 100,000, I would start to consider that a bear market entry signal, right? If we start breaking below $100,000, that probably means that the bear market is beginning. However, I'm more so inclined to believe that because of the massive resilience that Bitcoin showed on Friday and Saturday, that Bitcoin is going to hold above 100K, and we are now entering into the era of the six figures. I've got a video coming probably on Friday or Saturday of this week where I'm going to be explaining to you the different eras of how many digits are in Bitcoin. It's a really cool chart that I've got lined up for you. You're definitely going to want to see that. I've never seen it anywhere on YouTube. I came up with it on stream one day, and you're really going to like it. And I personally believe that Bitcoin, there's a very high chance, I'd say a 60 to 70% chance that Bitcoin never goes below $100,000 ever again. If it does, bear market would break back above 100K, then we never go below it. But I think that you're about to see a very bullish Q4. I don't want you to miss that. So please, perfect your craft, hold spot Bitcoin. If you want to leverage trade, I don't think that's a problem. But keep it less than 20% of your portfolio. If you've got $100,000 in spot, then you can trade with it $20,000, $15,000, $20,000 on leverage, right? If you know what you're doing and you're using stop losses and you have a plan. But make sure you have that investment account as insurance. And most importantly, once again, get good at what you do, build a business, build an income, help people and make money while doing it, and invest for the long term because that's how you're going to make your money. One last thing. Leverage trading exists to generate you an income that you then siphon off of to put into the investment account. Do not keep your entire net worth in perps. I've been very clear on that. Please, 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 please learn from the events that happened on Friday. We did not get liquidated for a penny because we follow our own risk management structure. We were out of trades. We were not in any long trades. I made that very clear in the Discord server, on stream, and on videos. Do not go into trades. Too risky. We don't know where the bottom is. We don't have a confirmed bottom. We don't know what Trump's going to do. Stay out of the play. Stay out of the perps exchanges right now. That's what we said. So please, invest in Bitcoin. Hold for the long term. One last thing before we wrap it out. And this has to do with building wealth and keeping it for the long term. And that is I Trust Capital. If you guys have not already signed up for I Trust Capital, before you click away, I'm going to give you one good reason why you should. It's going to stop you from losing money in two ways. Number one, there's no leverage trading in I Trust Capital. You're in spot. And some of you guys need to squirrel away some money in spot, not on leverage. Again, nothing wrong with leverage trading. We have leverage trading platforms down below. Love it. But you need to put some money in spot. And the second reason that you should invest through I Trust Capital is because it is the one-stop shop to invest in Bitcoin and crypto, not ETFs, directly into spot Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies through a Roth IRA or an IRA or an SEP IRA or a rollover 401k or all kinds of tax-advantaged retirement accounts. One of the things that you might not realize is stealing a lot of your wealth is that creepy Uncle Sam. He wants all of your tax dollars. If you sign up for I Trust Capital with the link down below, you can buy Bitcoin directly with your individual retirement accounts. With an SEP IRA, if you have a small business, you can roll over 401k funds over there and buy Bitcoin directly in spot in a tax-advantaged retirement account. And something I noticed the other day about how cool this is that even if you didn't want to treat these retirement accounts like retirement accounts, and you said, you know what, I'm going to hold it for 5 or 10 years, take the tax advantages, and I'm going to retire early before 59 and a half and take the 10% penalty. Because Bitcoin grows so much faster than the stock market, you would probably end up profiting doing that. Even if you didn't treat your retirement accounts like a retirement account, you probably would. Can't say for sure. Future results are not guaranteed, but that's something that I've heard of people doing, and I wouldn't be surprised if it worked pretty well. So if you've not already, make sure to sign up for I Trust Capital because they're going to do one thing. They're going to do one thing really well. They're going to make sure they save you money through taxes by providing you access to the cryptocurrency markets with retirement accounts where you can defer taxes or whether you can just deduct them entirely through a Roth or a traditional IRA. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for more content, be safe out there, and please, for the love of God, spot investment. Spot investment. Spot investment. I've said my piece. Go leverage trade, make you money, that's fine. 80% in spot, cold storage, locked away in a safe, buried in a ground, up in your rafters somewhere. I don't care. Put it in spot. Do not sell it till 2040. How many times have I told you? I'm not selling Bitcoin till 2040. You know what that is? That's my spot account. That's not my trading account. I got less money in my trading account than in my spot account because I've been building that for 8 years. And it didn't get touched yesterday or on Friday because we hold it in spot. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I love you. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. You really need to hear this one today. Peace.